All right, you're watching the Power Hour. I'm your host, DJ Larry Jones, and my next guest is a very talented jazz singer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Alfred Smoke. Smoke, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. First and foremost, let me say thank you so much for joining me on the show today. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure having you on.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. I want to jump right into it, man. How did you get interested in jazz? You're a heck of a vocalist, man. I listened to your song, "Say Less" is the title,
Yes.
and I love it. I love it, man. How did you even get started into jazz?
Wow. So really into jazz. There's a jazz singer here in Detroit by the name of Sky Covington, and
Right.
she asked me to play a part in her jazz production called Take Five. And she said I had some similarities, in her opinion, to Nat King Cole. And so
Mm.
for the past couple of years, I've been playing Nat King Cole on this show, and it really got me immersed into jazz, brother. I love it.
I can hear it. To be
Thank you.
honest, when I heard the song, I now that you say it, I do hear some similarities between you and Nat Cole, man.
Wow. Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, man. Let's get into your background a little bit, man. What kind of training, vocal training, did you have coming up? Did you go? A lot of people say, "Well, I started in church and I started in here." How did you get started singing?
Absolutely none.
Really?
Absolutely none. And I'm not ashamed to say it. It is what it is.
Right.
For most of my life, I didn't really have the outlet to sing, and so it wasn't until I was about 45 years old that I stepped on the stage and I began singing with no vocal training. And I think that I would call it a blessing because it was something that I think I've been cultivating it my entire life just to myself.
Right.
And so once I displayed it to people, they liked it, man. So I roll with it. At this point, I do vocal exercises, that type thing, but I don't have vocal training.
Right. Right. Now, coming up, have you always been into jazz? Was that like you know what I mean? Because obviously there's other genres, but jazz is
Mhm.
something that something that's always been in you.
I think it's always been in me, man. I'm a fan of the classics, man.
Yeah.
I love Nat King Cole. I love Dean Martin. I love Frank Sinatra, all those people. But I have an affinity also for Donny Hathaway and Stevie Wonder and
Oh, yeah.
their dips into mixing a little bit of jazz with soul, man. So it's always been in my heart.
Right. Now, your creative process when you now, do you play any other instruments? You play
Yeah,
guitar, don't
I play the guitar. Yes,
you? Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Now, your creative process when you're writing, where do you draw your inspiration? How do you get that? I mean,
A lot of times I draw it from personal experience. I'm not a person that will just sit down and just say, I'm going to write a song today. It's got to be something that's happened in my life or something that I've really been thinking seriously about. And Say Less is one of those songs where, I was thinking about ways that you can tell your significant other how you feel about them because you've read their body language or they've told you what their love language is. So I use things like that as inspiration.
yeah. The one thing I love about jazz music, man, it has sort of a mental healing.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, all music puts you in a certain mood,
Hmm.
whether it's hip hop, R&B, whatever. But jazz, it has that mental healing. How do you feel about that?
No, I agree with that, man. Different types of music, like you said, put you in a different mind state.
Right.
Jazz is one of those things that can pretty much do it all for you because of
Yeah.
the range of rhythms and vibes that you get from jazz. Again, I'm partial to the classics. I love ballads. Um, you know, Nat King Cole. Obviously, and those things put me in such a chill
Right.
mind state. It allows me to think. It allows me to be creative. I thank God for jazz, man.
Yeah.
We did that thing with jazz,
Yeah. I played the trombone coming up in middle
right?
school. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was pretty good at it. I was pretty good at it. I think I let peer pressure get me. When you're living in the projects in New York,
Uh,
I grew up in Spanish Harlem. So
hmm.
when you're coming home, you got this big instrument, and
Right.
you're walking through the projects. It can be pretty. so I
What
kind
is that?
yeah, right, right. So I
Right.
let peer pressure get to me, and I didn't pursue it, and I should have.
Get back to it, brother. Get back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. And I love the sound of the trombone. You know,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, do you have any pre-performance rituals, man? Like when you're performing?
Yeah, man. I breathe really deeply. I, I I'm an emotional person, so I have to really clear my mind. There can't be a lot that's on my mind before I go on stage. I tell a story all the time of I was having some relationship issues a couple years ago, and the person that I was having these issues with showed up at my show, and it really wrecked the performance, at least the first half of it, because
Mm,
I was totally into what that vibe was.
wow.
Um, so my pre my pre-show ritual is just clearing my head, breathing deeply, drinking a little tea, and just getting my mind right.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's the whole vibe of jazz anyway, that laid
Hmm.
back, smooth, make you want to drink some cognac and smoke a
Oh
cigar,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, how do you keep the traditional aspects of jazz alive in your music while infusing the modern, elements? Because I do hear that traditional in your
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely there, man. I mean, I love stand-up bass. I love B3, organs. I mean, I love everything that takes you back to that jazz era. So much so that now I've started an orchestra. We have like a big
Yeah.
band is what we call it, and it's a large ensemble band that plays jazz. Excuse me, that plays jazz. And I want to keep that vibe alive, man. You don't see that enough today. I mean, I love R&B, I love smooth jazz, but it's nothing like some straight ahead jazz, man. There's nothing like it with a big band delivering it.
Man, that
Yeah.
sound, right? Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
goodness, the depth of sound with all the horns and strings.
Yeah.
Um, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you've collaborated with quite a few people, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, how do you stay true to your personal style while collaborating with other musicians?
It's important that you work with musicians that are going to respect your style, respect the fact that it is a collaboration and not that I'm telling you how to sing or you have to fit in the mold of this song. The beauty of making music with people is I bring what I bring, you bring what you bring, and that's where the music is. And I can't really say I've had a situation where someone tried to bend me to a particular style, to bend me toward what they wanted, and I appreciate that. Detroit is a hotbed of music. Is a
Yeah.
hotbed of music, man. So you can definitely run into those folks that are purists as far as like R&B or jazz goes, but you have to do whatever it is that makes you who you are. If you're
Right.
jazz and you're singing some R&B, then throw that jazz and that R&B and spice it up. If you don't mind, there is a song that I just featured on with the Black Knight,
Mm,
Akinyele Spade, and he is pure
mm,
R&B, 90s R&B from top to bottom.
right.
And he allowed me to bring my jazzy aspects to his song. It's going to be a winner, man. It's going to be a hit. So I love working with people like that.
Yeah, I could imagine that combination. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it?
Yes.
Well, it's been done before, but I mean, it's so many ways you can flip that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with like a versatile vocalist. I mean, you take someone like Donny Hathaway, who, obviously you hear the church in Donny Hathaway, you hear the R&B in Donny Hathaway, but you hear the jazz.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
hear the jazz influence in Donny Hathaway, and he's one person that is able to cross that bridge, cross that boundary, and make it sound good with the quality of his voice and his musicianship.
yeah. Now, like I said, you've worked with a lot of people. What was your most memorable performance?
Mm. Um, so I would say there are two. One was with my friend Laura Rain. Laura Rain and the Caesars. They multiple albums out. She tours the country, and we had a performance on the 2022 Ford Fireworks on television,
Mm,
and it was a great performance. We did a Motown tune, and also I sing with Bobby Murray. You remember Etta James,
yeah,
great
big,
jazz singer
yeah,
from back in the day,
big
and
shout out to
she's
Etta James.
big shout out, man. It's everything changed when she left here, man. It
Yeah,
hasn't been that long. He was her band leader and guitarist for 25 years. And he called me one day and he asked me if I would sing on an album that was dedicated to her. And so I sang on that album, and we won a Detroit Music Award with that album. And we perform those songs pretty regularly. And last year in Ferndale, we performed it, and I think it was probably my best performance ever because I just totally got into what the song was about.
Right.
The band was hitting right that day,
Mm,
and it's a beautiful thing to work with musicians who value what you do, and they bring you in because they see what you do.
right.
You
Now,
dig?
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah. Now, how do you see jazz evolving in the future?
Um, I would hope that as these youngsters are coming up through school, learning the art of playing jazz music, that they continue to play the classics. But we know as technology evolves, you get more and more in the studio, and your hands are not so much on instruments as much as they are
Right.
on a keyboard. And there's still a lot of musicality in that, but live, straight ahead jazz, it's really hard to find it in any quantity and in any quality, like consistently across the United States. I mean, you have to find little pockets of clubs that will offer it. So I think in the future, if these kids want to stick to it, it's there. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Right.
I can't say that in 25 years you're just going to have a jazz club that is just dedicated to playing straight ahead jazz with real musicians, but we'll see.
Are there still jazz clubs out there? I mean, I know there's some, but
Yes.
it's not as many as it once was, is it?
No, they're not as many. And I think one thing that may contribute to that is the fact that, in this business, I don't know if a lot of venues place a huge value on the music itself and what it takes to bring live music to an establishment. And
Right.
so, because of that, the money is not always there. And that is what influences whether or not you get a good product, whether or not you can keep a good jazz club running. I mean, you can't pay, four guys $200 to put on 3 hours of music,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. What can we now? Let me rewind a bit. The project you got out now, is that a part of a full project coming, or is it just a single you got out there right now?
so it is a single that is part of an EP. That the name of the EP is actually Say Less. This is
Okay.
the title track on that, and it's going to be a 4-song EP. And we're going to continue releasing every other month until all the tracks are done, and then we're going to have a great big release party later in the summer. But
Nice.
yeah, it is definitely a part of a larger project.
Nice. And what can we expect from you in the future?
Man, you can expect more good music, man. I mean, I'm really starting to get a lot of wind beneath my wings. I make no bones about the fact that you know I have to continue to learn. I have to find the limits of my voice and
Right.
exercise and work to push beyond that. And every record, every time I record something, every show, it gets stronger. So you can expect better and better music coming from me in the future. But I'm glad you liked Say Less, though. I'm
Yeah.
glad you liked it, brother.
I do like it. And like I said, now that you said, you made that comparison to Nat King Cole, I can definitely hear it, man.
Thank you. I
Smooth,
appreciate it.
smooth vocal. Did you play guitar on that track?
I did not play guitar on that track. My music director, Randall Wilson, played guitar on that track. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Man, where can people listen to it if they want to hear it? How can they find it?
So on April the 26th, the release is on all platforms. I am going to be selling the song itself on my own website, smokejonesmusic.com. So you'll be able to go there and purchase my music. And but if you want to stream it, you can stream it uh, on any of the platforms.
Nice. Man, Smoke Jones, it's been a pleasure having you on the show
I
today,
appreciate
man.
you.
Much success to you, man. Thank you so much for joining me. You're watching the Power Hour right here on Soul TV.
Thank you, brother.